Hello everyone, on this video we're going to be checking out the GraphSpy by Redbyte 1337, and this is a post-compromise forensics tool they have put together using the Microsoft Graph API, and it's pretty much a web UI version of the Microsoft API, which with this one over here, which we'll be looking at as well quickly. But it's a very interesting and it's very easy to use, very intuitive. I found it easy to install as well. So let's just jump straight to it. So what this GraphSpy does is that it pretty much does a search on your files and contents of the files, and that will search within your environment on your OneDrive, Shapoint, Mail, Calendar, and soon he's also implementing on Teams. So it's going to be very, very useful. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to have a Python installed on your machine. Okay, so this app here is run on Python, and he mentions that it's run on Flask, which is pretty much just a container for web container for Python applications. So once you have Python installed, what you want to do is that you want to run the installation guide. Okay, so it's very straightforward. I'm not going to go through the installation, but I did not have any issues. The only thing that I had to do was I had to make sure I had the environmental variable over here because it says that it was added automatically. So just make sure the variable is added, and once it's added, you'll be able to run the GraphSpy by itself. All right, so let's just run that quickly. So if we run GraphSpy without any flags, it's going to launch on the localhost port 5000. So let's just open that quickly. Okay, so here we are. So here's the main page of GraphSpy, and one of the first things that you want to do is that you want to check the tokens. So you're going to see they have access tokens and refresh tokens. So to get this running, working, you want to click on access tokens, and on this page over here, that's the page where you're going to put the access token. All right. So how do you get an access token? Well, to get an access token, there's a few ways. There's just one method of authentication. I think he's planning to create a few more. You can also use a code app, but that requires a bit more setup, and is mostly for a long-term production. But for this case, we just want to log in, do some checks, and close again. All right, so access token is fine. So what you want to do is that you want to go to just open another page over here. Go to aka.ms/graph, official page for Microsoft Graph. So I just click on Get Started. Once you're here, click Let's Try Graph Explorer. Okay. So I just want to show you like maybe a little bit of behind the scenes of what this GraphSpy is doing. So if I just search over here for file, you're gonna see I'm gonna get a few different queries. And if you have never seen this page before, guys, this page you can run on graph queries straight from the browser. So for this example here, I'm just gonna run a query on me. So if you run query, I'm gonna get a few informations, and if you do not get any informations, make sure you have consented on the permissions, because that's very important. All right, so every query it comes with a set of permissions, and for this instance, this query itself was given these permissions, so that's why I was able to query it. And another thing to notice is that on the version 1.0, there's also version beta, and normally the beta is going to give you a bit more information. All right, so as you can see here, the query is a lot longer, has a lot more information. So it's definitely worth checking out the graph itself. So just back on the GraphSpy, over here, if I search for file, you're going to see my recent files in file share with me. So if I click on my recent files, and that's going to be the very similar stuff here. If I go files, recent files, files share with me. Right, so that's the same query it's doing, except it's doing a bit more filtering and maybe doing a subquery to it. All right, so what you want to do here is that if you click my recent files, you're going to see the permissions. Okay, so you do need to set permissions for this. Just choose one of them. Normally we select the least privilege and do a query. Once you do a query and you get a response OK 200, you want to click on access token. So that's the access token that you need. All right, so that's a return from Microsoft that you have been authenticated and you're valid to create queries. So once you get that, just copy it, go back to Microsoft Graph, paste the token, and here I'm going to put files, access, and click submit. As you can see, the access token has now been added. All right. So active token, this is a previous token I had. So I just simply can click here on the checkbox, and now the access token number 5 is selected. So what I've done is that I have this developer account, and if you do not have a developer account yet, just click on the link above where I made a video showing how to create a developer account. You can follow with the project along if you like. So with this developer account, there's a SharePoint that were automatically created. So what I did is that I simply added a few files to them. So over here, one of the SharePoints, I created folders, and these folders have like some files, and the same for another SharePoint. Okay, so some of these files have passwords and the words that we're going to be using now to see if the GraphSpy can view them. So if I go back to GraphSpy, what I can do is that if I go files, if I go recent files, so these are the recent files that were added. Okay, this is the file name, the URL, the size of the file, and what's also very nice to have is that you can download the file, okay, straight to your computer, and this can be very handy for post-compromise forensics. Also, another very interesting tool is that if you click on custom generic MS Graph search, and that's where the magic happens really for this tool. So if you go search type, you can see there's a different types of search you can make. You can do a list search, email message, Teams message, files, folders. So let's try files and folders. In the search query, I want to search for any file that contains the word password inside of it. Okay, so that's going to search within all the SharePoints available on my tenant that the access token can reach, and then it's going to just output the name of the file, and if it has the password on it, it's going to show up to you. As you can see here, this Joseph text is located on this link. So let's just verify it. If we just open a new page over here, as you can see here, it does have the password inside it. Okay, and also all the files over here. As you can see, this can be very useful if you're doing an audit. Let's say, for example, I want to search for a key. So that's like an API key, you know, so people would leave it blank. Yep, so over here, there's some I have made. So there's an API key that were left. But depending how you secure the system is, there will be a chance where this could be made possible, but developers should have made these keys a variable within their system, so they're not hard-coded within the files. So there's a security expose. Okay. Another thing that we could search here is the emails. I don't know if I search emails. Let's search for any emails just to see what comes up. Okay, I'll just try passwords. Yeah, so it'll be a similar in-depth search within your files on SharePoint, OneDrive, and you can also do a search file share with me. Okay, so in this example, I have a user who share a file with me, and me on this case is the token holder over here. It's gonna be the Joker. All right, but the most interesting part for me really is the generic MS Graph search. Okay, these can be really useful. And just to finish, guys, I want to show you a PowerShell version as well, because what you can do in PowerShell is also a content search, and that's gonna be very easy as well done. Let me just go to the location of the folder where I have the tenant. If I do a ls, which is pretty much a get child item, I'm going to get the contents of the folder. And if I do a lsr, I'm going to get the contents of the folder and the subfolders. All right, so it's going to be a massive list of things. But what I can do now is this command, and is that if I pipe that into a select string, and you want to put pattern, okay, and the pattern is going to be the content of the file that you're looking for, right? So in this case, I'm looking for all the files within this folder structure and subfolders, and any file that has the word password, please show it to me, all right? But if I show it like this, we're gonna get massive output that's not gonna be very useful. Okay, it's gonna get the we're gonna get like all the contents of the folder itself. But what we really are interested on is just the name of the file. Let's just put select name and the path. So in this case, we're gonna get the name of the file and the path of the file. All right. And I think I might have misspelled our name. So let's just put path for now. What also is good is that you can do another select, and you can do unique, and you could just say you want to get unique by path. So in this case, all these duplications over here are going to be removed. Okay, and from here you can output this to a file and also investigate. But here you do get results as well of all the contents that have the password within it. All right. So there's a GraphSpy is pretty much like a network 365 version of this command, and it's very interesting for a post-compromise forensics tool, and it's something that I'll definitely gonna have on my toolbox. So big shout out to RedByte 1337 for putting this all together. It's a really good tool, and I'm looking forward to the new updates. And if you enjoyed this video, guys, make sure to click the like button, subscribe, and I really appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.